Hello everyone, today we are going to discuss about the topic dimensional analysis and its types. This will be coming under the course curriculum of fluid mechanics for reservoir fluids. I will be Amritavalli, assistant professor in the Department of Petroleum Engineering, Amet University. In this topic we will learn what is a dimension, what is the difference between a unit and a dimension, what are the types of dimension and how we are using to solve the approaches also, along with a worked out example also we will see. What is dimensional analysis? Dimensional analysis is the use of a dimension and the dimensional formulas of physical quantities to find the interrelation between them. So, the unit is suppose you describe the unit for length, it will be meter, mass, it will be kg. The dimension for length will be represented by L. The dimension for mass will be represented by M. The time unit can be either it can be second or it can be minute or you can say in terms of hour. These are the possible units. The dimension for the time period will be time t. So, these three are called the fundamental dimensions. So, fundamental dimensions means these are the basic things, with this we will derive the remaining part. Next we know velocity is nothing but displacement divided by time taken. The unit for velocity will be meter per second. So, the dimension for velocity will be meter, it will have the dimension as length, second it will have the dimension as t. So, it is L, when it comes to the numerator you can write it as Lt power minus 1. So, this velocity will be called as, it will come under the category of secondary or derived dimensions. Secondary or derived dimension is nothing but with the help of any two fundamental dimension or any three fundamental or any combination, if you are using and deriving it from the fundamental dimensions, they are called as secondary or derived dimension. One example is velocity. We can have dynamic viscosity as kg per meter second. So, it is having mass, length, time period, all the three fundamental dimensions are included. So, it comes under the category of secondary or derived. So, you are deriving from a fundamental dimension. The kg again it can be written as m, length can be written as, mass can be written as L, the second, the time period will be written as t. So, it is m, L power minus 1, t power minus 1. The force, as we know, the unit for force will be Newton, or you can say in terms of kg meter per second square, that is force is mass into acceleration. So, the unit for the dimension for force becomes m, kg will be written as m, mass will be written as L divided by T square, or it is m L power 1 T power minus 2. So, any quantity which we are deriving with the help of a fundamental dimension is called a secondary or derived dimension. Only 2-3 examples I have given. You can have density. Density will be mass by volume. So, it is the unit becomes kg per meter cube. Again the kg can be written as m. L cube is nothing but you are representing the length 3 times. So, L cube m L power minus 3. That is what I have said. Fundamental dimensions are the basic things m, L and T, and secondary dimension are those quantities which possess more than one fundamental dimension. Example can be either dynamic viscosity, force, density, acceleration even, velocity, kinematic viscosity also. So, what is the need of studying this dimensional analysis? Dimensional analysis is used in research work for design and for conducting the model test. Next we will see what are the methods of doing this dimensional analysis. So, now we have seen what is dimensional analysis. Next we will learn what are the methods that are available to do this dimensional analysis. Two types of methods are there. It is Rayleigh's method and Buckingham's pi theorem. These are the two methods that are available to carry out the dimensional analysis. Next we will see what is this Rayleigh's method and what is the difference between the Rayleigh's method and the Buckingham's pi theorem. Before learning these two methods, we should know what is dimensional homogeneity. To solve using any two methods, any of these methods, we should know what is dimensional homogeneity. It means that the dimension of each terms in an equation on both sides will be same. That is, your LHS and RHS of the equation should be same. If the dimension of each side, each term on both sides of the equation are same, then you say the equation is dimensionally homogeneous. That is, you are equating both the powers on the left side of the equation as well as in the right side of the equation, and you try to bring the powers on both sides of the equation to be same. Then you say the condition as the equation is dimensionally homogeneous. Next we will see what is the Rayleigh's method. Rayleigh's method, when it will be used? It will be used for determining the expression for a variable which depends on maximum of 3 or 4 variables only. When the number of variables becomes more than 3 or 4, it becomes difficult to solve the expression. So, you go for a Buckingham's pi theorem. So, that is the disadvantage of this Rayleigh's method. That is, when you have more than 3 variables, the number of equations will become more. So, you have to go for a Buckingham's pi theorem. How to solve this Rayleigh's method? We take there are two types of variables. independent variable you have dependent variable. Independent variable is the variable which is not dependent on any measurements, whereas dependent variable is dependent on any of the following parameters, any parameters. We will see an example so that you will understand. So, what is this Rayleigh's method? If the number of independent variables becomes more than 4, then it is difficult, as I said earlier. You consider x as a variable. This x is going to depend on x is a variable, it is depending on x1, x2, x3. So, x is called an independent variable, whereas x1, x2, x is a dependent variable. x1, x2, x3 are called the independent variables. You can say x is a function of x1, x2, x3, or when I remove the function I put a constant and I say that x is dependent on x1 power a, x2 power b, x3 power c. So, we have to solve the equation and find out this a, b, c. Then we can say in what way x is dependent on x1, in what way x is dependent on x2, and in what way x is dependent on your x3. Okay. So, in the Rayleigh's method, what we say? X is a dependent variable, it is depending on 3 variables x1, x2, x3. These are called the independent variables. You say x is a function of x1, x2, x3, or you can say x is equal to k into x1 power a, x2 power b, x3 power c. We have to find out these constant values a, b and c, and this k is also a constant. This value can be taken out from the experiment which we conduct. So, a, b, c we have to solve the equations and find out the values. We will do one problem so that you can understand. In the problem mentioned, it was the time period of a pendulum depends on length of the pendulum and acceleration due to gravity, and they are asking you to derive an expression for the time period. So, first you have to say the time period is dependent on, it is depending on what? It is depending on length and acceleration due to gravity. So, it will be g. Next step will be time period is dependent on. So, I am introducing a constant, then I say I do not know in what way it is dependent. So, I write L power A, G power B. Then the next step, now you have to write the dimension for the time period as well as length and acceleration due to gravity. Time period will be, unit will be, as we have seen earlier, the unit can be either second or minute or hour. The dimension for time period will be capital T. So, this side only time period is there, mass is not there, length is not there. So, I am writing m power 0, anything power 0 will be 1, L power 0 T will be equal to k into the dimension for length already we have seen to be L, L power A. Acceleration due to gravity is, it carries the unit of meter per second square. So, the dimension for this will become meter, meter will carry the dimension as I have said earlier, it is length, the time period second square. So, it is t square. So, I can write it as L t power minus 2. So, put it here, it will be L t power minus 2 power b. Next step, now you have to equate the powers on both sides of the equation. Then only we say that the equation is dimensionally homogeneous. Now, it is m power 0, L power 0, t power 1 will be equal to, here you have L power a, here it is L power b, t power minus 2b. Now, equate the power of L on both sides of the equation. What is the power of L in the left side of the equation? It is L power 0. So, you write 0 will be equal to, in the right side it is L power a into L power b. When the bases are same like this, L power a into L power b, you can add the powers. So, it is L power a plus b. So, the power on the L will become a plus b. This is one equation, and one more possible is time period. So, next you can write in the same way you can equate the power of t on both sides of the equation. So, what is the power of t on the left side of the equation? It is t power 1. So, it is 1 equal to, in the right side it is t power minus 2b. So, I can write 1 is equal to minus 2b, or I can take out from this b is equal to minus half. Already I have framed the equation a plus b is equal to 0. So, I can say a plus b is equal to 0, a will be minus b, and we have found the b value to be minus half. So, a will be minus of minus half. So, a is equal to plus half. So, we have now found all the two constants which are there, a and b values. Now, you can say t is equal to, go back to the first expression, t is equal to k into L power, what is the constant value we have found? It is half, L power half g power minus half. So, time period is dependent on square root of the length of the pendulum and 1 by square root of the acceleration due to gravity. I can write L power half by g power half, or I can say it is k into square root of L by g. So, initially we do not know in what way the time period is dependent on length. Now, we have found that the time period is dependent on square root of the length of the pendulum, and the time period is dependent on 1 by square root of the acceleration due to gravity. This k value we can take out from the experiment, and normally the k value will be 2 pi. So, you can say t is equal to 2 pi square root of L by g. This is the way we have to do the problem to find out in what way it is dependent on the other two variables. One more problem I have given as assignment, you can try by yourself. The same method you can adopt, where I have given as find an expression for the drag force on a smooth sphere of diameter d moving with a uniform velocity in a fluid of density rho and dynamic viscosity. What is the problem in this is you have 4 variables. Here we have solved with 2 variables, whereas in that case force is dependent on diameter, velocity, density and dynamic viscosity. So, you are having number of variables becomes 4. So, it will be little bit tedious. You will get 4 equations. You have to fourth equation you have to frame in terms of any of the variables, adjust and then do. So, this will be an assignment for you. We will see next, when the number of variables becomes more than 4, it becomes very tedious to solve with a Rayleigh's method. That is why we are going to see next method, which is Buckingham's pi theorem. With that method you can solve any, if any number of variables is there, you can solve using that method. What does the Buckingham's pi theorem states? If there are n variables and it will include both the independent as well as dependent variables. So, it states that if there are n variables which includes both the independent and dependent variable in a physical phenomena, and if these variables contain m fundamental dimensions. Already we have seen fundamental dimensions are 3, that is mass, length and time. Then these variables are arranged into n minus m dimensionless terms. Each term will be called as a pi term. Pi, this pi will be equal to n minus m. This is the statement of a Buckingham's pi theorem. Next we will see how to, what is the method adopted to solve the Buckingham's pi theorem. Now we will see how to solve the Buckingham's pi theorem. We consider as earlier x1 is a dependent variable, x2, x3 etc. up to xn minus m. That is, in earlier method we have seen only 2 variables. Now you can have any number of variables. These are called the independent variables. You can say x1 is a function of x2, x3 till xn minus m, or I can say f1 is a function of x1, x2, x3, xn minus m will be equal to 0, or in terms of pi terms you can say f1 is a function of pi 1, pi 2, pi 3, pi n minus m is equal to 0. Now we have to learn how to solve this, how to solve and find out this pi term. Next slide we will see what are the methods used to solve the expression using a pi term. What are the methods of selecting the variables? Okay. First we will see the dependent variable. Which is the dependent variable? x1 is a dependent variable. This dependent variable should not be chosen as the repeating variable. That is the first criteria. To solve the equation, you should have dependent and independent variable. You should not select the dependent variable as the repeating variable. This should not be chosen as the repeating variable. Next, The repeating variable you have to choose in such a way that one variable should contain geometric property and one more variable should contain flow property and the next variable should have fluid property. So, all these three variables should be present in the expression. So, the repeating variable should contain any that is all the three variables: geometric property, flow property and a fluid property. What are the geometric property variables? It can be either length, diameter, height, as they tell you about the geometry of the object. Next, flow property, which will come under flow property? Velocity and acceleration. Which will come under the fluid property? The fluid property will be density. Either you can select density or dynamic viscosity. This will be dynamic viscosity, or I can take angular velocity. So, my expression should have one geometric property, one flow property and one fluid property. If your given statement is containing length, diameter and height, all the three are available in the problem, you can select any one as the geometric property. Next condition will be the repeating variable selected should not form a dimensionless group. Dimensionless means it is not going to have any dimension. They should have a dimension. The next point is the repeating variable together must have the same number of fundamental dimension. Next, you should select in such a way that no two repeating variables should have the same dimensions. These are the procedures which are to be followed when you do a problem using the Buckingham's pi theorem. We will see how to solve a problem using a Buckingham's pi theorem. In the slide I have given two problems, one I will solve and show you how to do it. Next problem will be an assignment for you. What is the first problem? Says the pressure difference in a pipe of diameter d and length L due to turbulent flow, it is depending on velocity, viscosity, density and roughness. Using Buckingham's pi theorem, they are asking you to obtain an expression for pressure difference. The pressure difference will be denoted by delta P. It is function of, it is depending on diameter of the pipe, length of the pipe, velocity, viscosity, density and roughness. These are the variables it is depending on. So, your first step will be you have to write everything, then you have to say what is the total number of variables including independent as well as dependent. So, count, this is an dependent variable, delta P, pressure drop is a dependent, it is depending on length. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, total number of variables is 7, and as we already know, fundamental dimensions are 3, that is mass, length and time. Then you have to say pi terms, how many pi terms you are going to get out of this equation. So, number of pi terms has to be calculated as n minus m. So, it is 7 minus 3, it is, you have to do 4 pi terms to solve the equation. So, first will be pi 1. Pi 1 will be equal to, what is the thing we have seen? The repeating variable should be selected in such a way, it should have a geometric property. What is the geometric property available here? Diameter is there, length is there. I can select either diameter or length. I am selecting diameter. So, it is d power a1. I can take either velocity, only velocity is available as the flow property. So, it is v power b1. Next, it can be either density or dynamic viscosity. I am selecting density power C1 into what is the pressure, what is the equation they are asking you to find? Obtain an equation for pressure difference. So, into delta P. Next pi 2 term should have the same thing, d power A2, V power B2, rho power C2 into, we did not still use length, density and roughness. So, I am using into L. The next pi term, pi 3 will be d power A3, V power B3, rho power C3 into, what is the property I have left? Density is still left, and pi 4 will be equal to d power A4, V power B4, rho power C4 into K. So, now I have written all the pi terms, pi 1, pi 2, pi 3, pi 4, up to this over. Now, you have to find out the values of A1, B1, C1 from the equation. So, pi does not have any unit, so it is not going to have any dimension. So, I have to write it as M0, L0, T0, since it is not going to have any dimension. The diameter will have the unit as meter, or I can write the dimension as L, L power A1. V is nothing but the velocity, velocity will be L T power minus 1 power B1, because velocity unit will be mass by meter per second, or you can say it as LT power minus 1. Density, already we have seen the unit for density is kg per meter cube. So, the dimension will be m L power minus 3. So, it is m L power minus 3 power C1 into pressure drop will be force acting on a unit area. So, it is Newton per meter square. Newton you can say it as kg meter per second square into meter square. So, meter will go off, the unit becomes kg meter per second square. So, the dimension will become m by L T square. So, I can say m L power minus 1 T power minus 2. Now, the next step will be, now we have put the dimension for the equation also. Now, I have to solve the equation. We have already seen that the equation, when it will be homogeneous, when the powers on the left side and the right side, they are going to be same. Now, equate the power of m on both sides of the equation. So, it is m power 0, 0 is the power, this side it is m power C1, 1 I will do and show, it is m power C1 into m. When the bases are same, you can add the powers. So, I can write C1 plus 1. Now, next step will be, you have to equate the power of L. The power of L on the left side will be 0, in the right side it is A1 plus B1 minus 3C1 minus 1. Next, the power of T on both sides, it is T power 0 will become equal to, this side it is minus B1, then you have only minus 2. So, I have got 3 variables and I have got 3 equations. You can solve this. So, from this I can infer minus B1 will become equal to 2, or I can say B1 is equal to minus 2. So, one I have found out. The second, here also I can say C1 is equal to minus 1, B1 is equal to minus 2. So, A1 will become, from this I can say A1 is equal to minus B1 plus 3C1 plus 1, or I can say B1 value I have found to be minus 2, so it will become plus 2 minus 3 plus 1, or it is 3 plus, it will be 3 minus 3, it will be 0. A1 will be 0, B1 will be minus 2, C1 will be minus 1. Now you go back to the earlier thing where we started. We said pi 1 is equal to, what did we say? Diameter power A1, velocity power B1, rho power C1 into delta P. Now you substitute these values, d power 0, v power minus 2, rho power minus 1 into delta P. So anything power 0 will be 1. I can say, I will write this way. Pi 1 can be said as delta P divided by rho v square. This is the first pi term we have found using the Buckingham's pi theorem. Then you have to do again for the second pi term. Second pi term will be d power A2. The same procedure, it will be v power B2, rho power C2 into length. So you write the same way, M0, L0, T0 will be equal to diameter, it is the same, L power A2. The velocity, it will be LT power minus 1 power B2. Density is going to have ml power minus 3 into C2 dot L. So again you equate the powers of m on both sides, it will be 0 will be equal to C2. So we have found one variable, power of L will become 0 is equal to A2 plus B2 minus 3C2 plus 1. The power of T on both sides will be 0 is equal to minus B2. So I can say B2 is equal to 0 and A2 is also 0. So from this I can find out A2 will become equal to minus 1. So you can say pi 2 term will be equal to, take those values and substitute back again in the expression. So it is d power 0, v power, sorry, d power minus 1, v power 0, rho power 0 into L, or I can say it is L divided by d. So we have found pi 1 term, pi 2 term. In the same way you have to find out pi 3 and pi 4. Instead of pi 2, you have to put it as pi 3. All these variables will become 3, and here what we have not used is dynamic viscosity. The same way if you follow, you will get this answer. So we have found till pi 2 term. The pi 3 term and pi 4 term follow the same steps. I have given you the answer. Pi 3 will be dynamic viscosity divided by dv rho, and pi 4 term will be k by d. And at last you have to say pi 1 is a function of pi 2 comma pi 3 comma pi 4. What is the pi 1 term we have got? It is delta p divided by rho v square is equal to function of pi 2 term we have got it as L by d. So it is L by d comma mu by dv rho comma k by d. So this is the procedure followed to solve any problem using Buckingham's pi theorem. One more problem is also given as assignment. You can say, you can try the problem with the same way so that you will understand it. Hope this lecture will be useful and it will be an introductory for everybody. We will meet in the next class. Thank you.